All right, perfect. So, all right, well, thank you, everybody. Thank you for taking the time again to join us today. My name is Lucas Rodriguez. I will be working with my team and Zach through this presentation. We have an hour blocked off. We probably won't need a full hour. And as we go through this, please feel free to message me any questions you guys have, and we will try to address that at the end for a little Q&A if we do have time, but we'll also try to get some time back in your day. So for quick introductions on the team, once again, my name is Lucas Rodriguez. I cover the Great Lakes region, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and a few of the other states around the area. With me today, I have Zach Davidson. He is our solution engineer, and Zach and I will be the two going through the presentation. But I also want to call out the rest of our team. So Ryan Allen supports the Southeast and Texas region. We have Tasha Cardona. She works in the West Mountain region, Alaska and Hawaii. She gets a lot of time zones. Hillary supports the New England region, Northeast, and then Dustin Pope supports Central and all of Canada. So I guess Dustin has quite a few time zones too as well. So as we go through this next presentation, or we want to call out quite a few things. Obviously, everybody here are Schoology users. Schoology is the focus of this presentation, but with Schoology and PowerSchool as a company, we continue to add and grow to what Schoology has to offer. So we're going to point out a lot of the new features that have come out over the last 1 to 6 months, highlight a few things at the end on where you can view to see upcoming features too as well. But we also want to point out the new integrations available with solutions that you guys might already have, might be interested in adding down the line, maybe have evaluated before, and maybe it wasn't the right time. And we continue to add to these products. So, as for example, our most recent acquisition was curriculum and instruction from Chalk. That was this last summer. We had some stuff available at the beginning for the integrations. We want to continue to add to that. Performance matters. We've continued to add to that over the years. So we want to highlight that so you guys are aware of those integrations. And then again, do a quick preview of those products just so you know what they do have to offer if you are using them or if you're potentially interested down the road. But as a reminder, the key function or focus on this presentation is going to be Schoology and what Schoology has to offer. Everything that we show will be linked to Schoology somehow. With that being said, I'm going to pass it over to Zach and we'll dive right in. Again, sorry, Zach, one last thing. Feel free to chat me if you guys have any questions or anything for the Q&A at the end. So Zach, all yours, sorry.
No problem there, Lucas. And good afternoon, and maybe good morning to some folks. I'm Zach Davidson. I'm one of the solution engineers for PowerSchool. I'm really excited to be with you on the call today. Quick introduction on myself. I've been on the Schoology side of the house for about 9.5 years and came over with the PowerSchool acquisition of Schoology almost 3 years ago. I currently live in Atlanta, Georgia, but I'm originally from New York, New Jersey area. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to share our screen. And actually what we're going to do as we share our screen here, I really want to talk with everyone about our PEMA model and how our solutions across the PowerSchool spectrum really align to the PEMA model. I'm sure everyone is familiar with the PEMA model: plan, engage, monitor, and adjust. But as we walk through these, we're going to talk through each segment of that PEMA model, of course, centering around the student, him or herself, right? So when we think for your school districts around planning, engaging, monitoring, and adjusting, that continuous cycle around student learning, we want to first highlight one of our newest solutions, our Unified Classroom Curriculum and Instruction solution. This solution here, this new platform under the PowerSchool umbrella, truly aligns the thought process around curriculum mapping and lesson planning from the teacher perspective. We'll just touch on this briefly here, but within our solution, we provide very easy ways for teachers or the curriculum staff themselves to easily create and distribute curriculum maps throughout your entire school campus or throughout the entire district. You'll note here the very simple interface in itself that allows for keyword searches for different maps that a teacher or a principal may have access to. We also provide some very easy ways for the folks that have the editing rights within the curriculum map experience to very easily align standards and build out those maps, as you can see here. In this example, as I collapse these tabs, what you're going to notice is that within our curriculum and instruction tool, we provide very easy ways for the curriculum writers to leverage the template experience that we provide, which is that backward design approach, right? Or understanding by design that was created by Dr. Heidi Hayes Jacobs. At the same time, when we're thinking about our curriculum maps for you as an individual district, you can create your own template experience here within the solution. We're going to touch on just a couple of tabs here. You'll notice that we have the ability for you to aggregate your standards, whatever they might be, very simply and easily within the platform. In our solution, we already have your state standards readily present. In my demo site, we're using Common Core, but your state standards, IB standards, any sort of custom learning objectives also can be imported into the platform, no problem whatsoever. But as you're building out these curriculum maps to deploy to the faculty and staff, you'll note here the very easy capability to align content to identify standards by keyword, or even in this example here, the standard title as seen, and align that curriculum map to the appropriate standards. Additionally, we provide very easy collaborative efforts that can be had here as well. Within the solution, what you'll notice here is that for the teacher, Shelley Lloyd, her icon is present for the desired results tab. And that, again, could be your essential questions, your big ideas, your goals, whatever the case may be, however you template that curriculum map. But what you're noting here is an opportunity where if myself, Zach Davidson, Lucas, some of the other Power School employees were also on this doc, I would actually see their icon as well. So we can all build out this curriculum map without having to meet in room 202 every second Thursday of the month, right? This provides that hybrid experience where we can collaborate without having to be in the same physical location. What you'll also notice here is an opportunity to leverage a lot of the work that you might have already done in previous platforms or solutions. So we'll provide easy capabilities for you to build out your curriculum map, but leverage work that you've already done by uploading files from other worksheets or PDFs, or even leveraging the work that you might have done in a Google Drive or Microsoft OneDrive as an individual user or district as well. Now, within our solution, when it comes to the curriculum mapping, what you're seeing here, we do provide a role-based and permission-based platform so that you can create roles within the solution that allow for the editing of curriculum maps. But of course, maybe let's say for the teachers themselves, they don't have the ability to edit the maps, but they can still view the maps and use them in their own individual classes. When we think about that experience and tying that into Schoology, we provide this share tab, which allows for you to take any curriculum map as seen here and either publish this in a Schoology group perhaps, or even on a public facing website for parents and family members to view. What's great here is that when we're thinking about publicizing these links for public use, whether it's the faculty members or even creating another separate link for a public-facing website, you'll note here that you can select which units of the curriculum map you want to showcase in that link and which aspects of the units you want to show. So in this example here, I have the standards being showcased. I have the desired results. In most cases, for a public-facing website, I may not want the assessment evidence to be shown, right, and publicized, so I can take that away. And once I do so, we can create this link and publicize it right there within the platform. And just for everyone to kind of get a glimpse as to what that can look and feel like, I'll actually post that link in the chat so you can see what that can look like from an end user standpoint, even though you don't have access to the UC C&I system in itself. So we make it very simple and easy for you as curriculum writers to edit these maps, to change them and create them starting from scratch, of course. But we can also think about aligning this to a pacing calendar. And so what you're seeing here is an opportunity for us to create the curriculum map and align it to a calendar for, again, the faculty and staff to view and see. You can see here that this is a static map, but you can make changes depending on the number of lessons to each unit. You can change the start date each and every year. So if next school year you're starting on November 14th, everything gets shifted over. You'll also note here that we can apply holidays, off days within the platform. So as an administrator within our solution here, you would have the ability to take the calendar and add your own PD days, your benchmark testing days, and things of that sort to align here so that none of the lessons in the pacing calendar are overlapping where teaching and learning isn't happening on those given days. The last thing I'll highlight here within the map experience is the thought process around vertical alignment. And so in this example here, we showed the grade 3 math map, but what I'd like to also highlight is an opportunity to think about how we can work as PLCs to discuss, concepts being taught across grade levels or even across subject areas. So in this example here, what we've done is actually taken the math map for grades 2, 3, and 4, and we have that vertical alignment. You'll note here within the platform as well, we provide once again this search tab that allows you to search by concept or even search by the standard itself to identify if there are any gaps. Is there alignment within the platform where we can see what concepts, what standards are being taught throughout the given semester? Are there any gaps here? And if so, let's make those changes to the curriculum map experience. All right, so we want to provide very easy ways for you to not only create the maps, but think about the identification of the standards being addressed, the concepts being addressed within those different map experiences and working collaboratively as a PLC when thinking about that alignment. Now, the maps themselves are always going to be created by the curriculum writers, whoever you have at your district. Sometimes the teachers themselves build those maps for all the faculty members. But in our solution, we also provide that autonomy from a teacher perspective to think about their daily lessons, and that daily lesson planning that's happening on a day-to-day basis can now happen directly here within a digital format in our curriculum and instruction solution. What you're noting here is an opportunity where these courses or these classes, grade 3 math for Miss Lloyd, her ELA classroom, her science and such, this is all going to be pulled in from Schoology. Now, on the teacher's end, he or she can choose again from a template experience to create those lessons, or they can start from scratch when building out their lessons on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis. Either way, we're going to provide that rich text editing capability so that teachers can be very creative in what they're building out and deploying for those lesson plans. But what you'll also note here is that we tie it back to that pacing calendar. So once again, Wednesday, November 30th is tied back to that same pacing calendar that we showed previously, where we're now in Unit 2, Area and Perimeter. Now, while that pacing calendar is a static calendar that might be created at the central office level, we will have opportunities as individual teachers to override that if need be. So maybe as a teacher, we had a field trip yesterday, so we're still in Unit 1. Right? Or maybe another teacher in the school is moving at a faster pace and we're already in Unit 3. That can be very easily interchanged by the individual teacher, him or herself. But what you'll notice here is that the reason we place this unit tab here and tie it back to the pacing calendar is so that as a teacher, even though you might be building out your own individual lesson plan, you can always leverage the curriculum map. Right, so recall here that curriculum map that we just previously showed. Now the teacher has access to that map, not only to view it, but to take aspects of that map and possibly leverage it in their lesson that they're building out. So I can take this Minecraft video as one of the aspects of assessment evidence from the curriculum map and now add it to my lesson for the day. I can supplement this with my own editing without changing that master copy from the curriculum map experience. And once I do so, one of the key capabilities is not only printing this out, let's say a substitute teacher comes in for the day or what have you, but I can also now take that lesson in itself and add it to my Schoology classroom. right? And so in this example here, what you're going to note is that I've taken the lesson, I've built out my lesson plan for the day. We can do this for the given week or for the month and have that weekly or monthly view as well. But staying here focused in today's platform or today's lesson plan, I can now take that and immediately add it into Schoology. And what you're seeing now is that same lesson plan that I created within our curriculum and instruction solution now being present and available to me as a teacher to review in Schoology, where the teaching and learning is actually happening. And so the exciting thing here is that now for the teacher, now for the teacher, when we have that course, right, the lesson plan that we created, the goals for today, I can drag and drop that to be at the top of the course if need be. The students can view that, or I can unpublish it, just like all Schoology material, so that it can be unpublished to students, but available to me as the individual teacher to review. So we're really excited about what we can place here, and there are going to be more aspects of integration as we continue to work through building out our platform here with our curriculum and instruction solution. So before we move on from the planning side, what we just reviewed is an opportunity to build out curriculum maps within our curriculum and instruction solution. Also, the thought process of teachers building out their daily lessons on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis, and then plugging them in to the Schoology course where the teaching and learning is actually happening, the interacting with students and the engaging, right? The engagement piece. And so we'll shift our focus over to engagement. But before we do, I want to take a quick pause here. Lucas, I see there are still folks joining in on the conversation, and the chat might be bubbling up as well. Are there any questions that are that have been coming up that you want to touch base on, or anything that you'd like to add before we talk a little bit more about the Schoology piece in itself?
No, I think that was most of it. I've been able to get the questions asked. I will, Sarah, I'll unmute you real quick, and we'll see if you had a question. I saw you raised your hand. Let me unmute you. Or you should be able to unmute yourself now. Oh, there you go. Sorry, I hit the button one more time. Sorry, it's all yours.
Is that okay? Can you hear me
Yep.
now?
Yeah.
Thank you. It's so good to see you. The question I had was, when you add it to your materials, are you able to add it to a folder? Or does it just kind of populate over here and then you have to decide where you're going to put it?
So as it stands today, when you add the lesson plan for the day, or the lesson plan in general, it'll populate at the bottom of the course. Then
Okay.
you can drag and drop that anywhere you'd like, within a folder, at the top of the course, what have you. But initially, it will come directly to the bottom of the course, and then you drag and drop that wherever you'd like.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Great question there.
All right, perfect. All right, I think that's it for now, Zach. We want to jump over into the Schoology side. And then
Awesome.
I am trying to work on the closed captioning. There's a few questions on that, so I'm trying to get that set up for everybody.
All right, wonderful. So we talked about the aspect of planning, right? The building of curriculum maps, and now having a solution within the PowerSchool umbrella that allows for districts to build those curriculum maps, and also the thought process of teacher autonomy around the lesson planning. What we'll do now is actually shift to Schoology to talk about the engagement piece. And it's, correct me if I'm wrong here, Lucas, but everyone in the room is a Schoology user already today. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Awesome. So we're not going to go through the general features that you folks are very much used to. What we want to focus on are some of the new features and experiences within our solution that you may or may not be privy to today. So here we are. I'm in the platform as a teacher. I'm in my homepage experience, and we're going to jump right into one of the courses here. Now, when we think about engaging students where they are, right, how we teach a second grade student is very different than what we teach and what we build to engage a 10th grade calculus student, or in this example, world history student. And so I want to focus on the three distinct yet very easy ways that we allow for content to be authored by teachers. You're very familiar, I'm sure, with our import from resources tab, but I think it is always helpful to reiterate the point that while you can build content in Schoology and always save it for future use, right? And so in this example, I can take content that I built in this example over 2 years ago and add it to my course today. Well, this is my own personal silo. We always want to reiterate the point that for your teachers, think about leveraging the groups in Schoology. Our group resources provide opportunities for you as a district to think about building out best practices and very easily making that common practice throughout the entire district. So we're very excited about this opportunity here. This is not a new feature, right? But I do want to always highlight the fact here that as an administrator, you can think about pushing these groups out to your teachers, PLCs, so that they can think about building out best practices to make that common, make those equitable resources available to all teachers across the 2nd grade, across the 8th grade, ELA teachers, what have you. So that's that one way that we think about building content. The second, of course, is leveraging third-party apps and tools that you're already using in the district today. And you folks may or may not be aware of our Google integration, right? But of course, we have built out a Google integration that allows for teachers to leverage Google assignments in the same exact way that they would when thinking about leveraging Google Classroom. Right? I can build out this Google assignment in this experience here using the same functionality that a teacher might have been used to with Google Classroom. Building that out and creating that assignment, but now when I click create, that assignment would actually populate in Schoology. And so this is one example here where, we have a fully built out Google assignment right here that the teacher has built in Google with the Google assignment LTI integration, and it populates directly in Schoology. Now, on top of that, we provide an opportunity for that integration to think about highlighting the student progress, right, in one location here, having those submissions, but still leveraging the Google annotation tools as well. One of the new features that Schoology is now pushed out, when we think about the teachers moving from Google Classroom over into Schoology, we have had so many school districts over the past 2-3 years that have migrated from Schoology, from Google Classroom over into Schoology, that we've actually now built out a Google Classroom import tool. This Google Classroom import tool is a fairly new tool that allows for teachers that have built their content out in Google Classroom to now leverage that content and immediately pull that over into the Schoology system. And so this tool will allow you to select a course from your Google Classroom, as seen here, and then basically take that content and add it all and migrate it, all over into Schoology. So you can see in this example here, I've selected my world history course. I can take individual assignments or select all of the assignments that I've built in Google Classroom over the last couple of years or last semester, what have you, and now immediately import that content over into Schoology. So when we think about lessening the learning curve, right, and applying an opportunity for teachers to migrate content so that we're leveraging the work that we've already done, but still using that inside of our new system here. We can very easily migrate that content over, but think about, again, those Google productivity suites, the annotation capability being available, and depending on your student information system, now with Schoology, having those grades sync back over into the SIS as well. So we're really excited about that feature there. Lucas, anything that you'd like to add to this point before we move on and show some of the other features?
No, I mean, one thing to call out is as a company overall, we did migrate to LTI 1.3 this last year. So we are getting a lot of new enhanced integrations with not just Google, but with Microsoft, and then even other third-party programs like BrainPop and Quizlet. So really, if the vendor is 1.3 compliant on the LTI side, we'll be able to take advantage of some of those new tools. So even though we are highlighting Google right now, Microsoft is around the corner on some of that. So yeah, just keep an eye out, and we continue to improve the LTI integrations with our third-party partner programs.
Awesome. Wonderful. So let's move on here. We talked a little bit about the new Google import tool. I also want to showcase some cool features here that you're probably not aware exist today. we actually built out this rich text editing that you're very familiar with already. One of the new tools here is the ability to provide what's called an inline link. So you are very familiar with the linking tool that we've always had, which allows you to take a URL, but you have to find the URL and then place it here so that students have access to that. With the inline linking, what this does is provide an opportunity for you to link directly to a course material. So some feedback that we've received over the last couple of years is that teachers very often like to create different modules that students kind of work through. And they'll create a description in an assignment or a page in Schoology that links directly to another class material. Before, teachers would have to go to that material, open that up, identify the link, copy that, and then come back into the assignment or the page and paste that link there. Now we can apply a capability here for you to link directly to an individual course material as seen. And so as a teacher, if I create a content item, or even if we have items from third-party platforms like a Nearpod in this example, I can link directly to that Nearpod example right here within the platform. So I can say, hey folks, or hey students, right? Refer back to this Nearpod assignment and link directly to that assignment in Schoology. And it provides that link in line where you can decide to open that into a new tab or open that right into the Schoology system. So that's one of the new capabilities there that we're very excited about. Another piece is our accessibility checker. We have had consistent feedback from our end users around the need to have an accessibility checker right within the platform. And so we're providing that capability here. And you'll notice that in the rich text editing, right next to the font size, you'll see that available there for you. If you open it up, obviously there's nothing here for me to check and it shows no issues. But when there are pictures and font sizes that might be too small or too large, what have you, the accessibility checker will provide that functionality for you to review automatically through this capability here. So we're really excited about providing that system as well. Additionally, Google Drive users, Microsoft users, you're very familiar with the OneDrive and Google Drive assignment application, but one thing that you might not be aware of is our new annotation capability. What this provides is an opportunity for you to basically create a or upload, if you will, a PDF to an assignment. And now students will have the ability to annotate on that assignment. So as I kind of toggle over here to the student experience, just to show what that looks like, I'll come to the same course, that world history course, and I have one of the assignments here that has that annotation capability. This Alexander the Great assignment. What this provides is, once again, the ability for the teacher to upload a PDF, a worksheet, what have you. What you'll notice here is that from the student experience, we now have the ability to annotate directly on top of any image, any video, or PDF that the teacher uploads. You can see here that we can leverage various colors, right? We can have freehand drawing. We can even apply the thickness to that drawing if need be. And there are multiple colors as seen here so that the student can be pretty creative in what they're keying, what they're highlighting, what they're crossing out, and things of that sort. So that highlighting capability provides the ability for you to highlight over content, to strike through content. You can see here, you can also create different shapes in various colors, crossword puzzles, you name it, right? The thought process here is not just for our secondary students, but thinking about your early elementary students as well. How can we engage those students where they are to build out these tools and experiences to allow them to showcase their depth of understanding around concepts? Additionally, it's a lot easier for teachers to get started with Schoology when they can take a lot of the work that they've built out, whether it's worksheets, PDFs, and things of that sort, and just immediately upload that into Schoology without thinking about how to quote unquote Schoologize that content to make it truly interactive. So we're really excited about that piece there as well. I'll come back here into the teacher portion just to also highlight some other aspects of the platform. And before we do, also note here one of our newest features to the platform, and that is the inclusion of Microsoft's immersive reader. Whether you're a Google district or a Microsoft district, you can still have this immersive reader readily present within the platform. The immersive reader provides capabilities for read alouds, translation, picture dictionaries, and things of that sort. And what was very new to the platform is an opportunity to either include this in your course or not include this. So we pushed this out just a couple of months ago, that immersive reader, and immediately we received feedback from Spanish teachers and world language teachers that said they don't want that in their course because of those translation capabilities where they want students to work on that themselves. We've now updated that feature so that teachers can manage whether or not they want the immersive reader to be included within their solution or within their course, excuse me. All right, so we talked a lot about the Google Classroom import. We talked about the annotations, the immersive reader. Let's go back into the teacher role very briefly here. And I also want to showcase, some of the key nuances when it comes to the accommodations in itself directed at an individual student. We talked about the accessibility checker, but very often we have to give students different accommodations depending on their individual needs. And now within the gradebook here, what we can provide is basically an accommodations indicator that allows for the teacher to basically dictate whether or not they've given that student accommodations for that individual assignment. This is not only helpful for the teacher to keep and make sure that they're doing exactly what they need to, but this can also be seen by the individual student and the parent as well. And so parents that want to make sure that their students or that their child or children are receiving those accommodations that they should be issued will now have that availability to view that directly from the grading as well. So that as a teacher creates a grade and checks that off, the parent, the student, him or herself will also see that there indeed. All right, so the other piece that we want to highlight is the ability of thinking around while I'm here in the gradebook, one last thing I actually wanted to showcase, and Lucas actually brought this up to me to highlight, now within our the view of the Schoology gradebook, right? We always have the ability, as you're very much aware, to mark a student as excused to the homework assignment, incomplete, or missing. Well, we can do that for the individual student. Now we can actually view all the students that have excused markers on assignments or which assignments were marked incomplete and missing and things of that sort, providing that very key capability to very quickly identify that so that you can message a student, right? In this example here, without having to go directly to the student to send that message capability is now present. This is another new feature that's present within the Schoology system in itself. So we're really excited about these features here within the platform that we've been able to push out when it comes to the Google Classroom import, when it comes to accessibility and accommodations, and obviously, once again, that inline linking of the content. Before we move on from here, Lucas, any questions that are coming up in the chat that you want to answer or that you'd like for me to answer, or anything that you'd like to add here?
No, Zach, nothing so far. A lot of people are excited about this. To answer some questions that are coming up, quite a few of this is a request. You do have to submit a support ticket to have it turned on a few of this. There's no additional cost for these tools, but you do have to enable it or have it set up. Actually, I did get a few quick ones. Let's see. Can we show the accommodation piece one more time? Because I do think we're tracking pretty good on time. Zach, can you show that one more time for us?
Sure.
And then with some of the other people saying that they can't see this in the grade book yet, I will double check again. I think you have to get this approved or set up, or might log back out, log in. But I'll double check that too for you guys.
for those that may not be seeing, certain features that I might be showing here, some of these features, like the accommodation piece, for instance, is behind a feature flag. So the district would have to turn that on. So if you're not seeing any of these tools here, just reach out to your support contact at the district and say, hey, we saw this in the webinar, obviously, excuse me, Lucas is going to be sending this out as a recording once this session is over. So you can even refer back to this piece here and just ask that support contact at your school or district to have that turned on as a feature flag.
Yeah, thank you. And then just so everybody, I'm getting quite a few questions on this too. The annotation tools, and Zach, correct me if I'm wrong, it's only on the browser right now. We should have it on the app shortly. We're working on that, but it is released on the browser feature now. Correct, Zach?
That is correct. Today,
Okay.
the annotation capability is only available on the browser experience. Now, if I'm on an iPad, I can still go into a Safari or Google Chrome to, go through those annotations, but I just wouldn't be able to do so directly from the Schoology app as of yet.
Correct. Yes. Yeah, and it looks like that's most of the questions. A few people I will get to as soon as I can. I got about 40 all at once, so I will be answering those to that. And then Chris actually had one more question too. Is it possible to send bulk messages to a group of students like those that have not submitted work?
Not as of yet. We do understand that is a feature that's been requested. As of right now, you would still have to just go to the messaging app and then plug those students in when you send a new message.
Yeah, I mean, you can group students together, so you can create a group and send a message out to those students within a group, but it's not necessarily, that has to be a pre-built group, not a students that, haven't completed something, so.
It's also worth noting here, back in the student experience, just to highlight the fact that, one, students will always have an overdue alert right on their homepage. So if I, Sarah Abram, the student, right, had any overdue assignment, it would be listed right away on the homepage experience. Additionally, you can think about this process for your parents. If you're using, or if you've implemented parent profiles within your school district, parents can set up notifications for overdue alerts for their kids. And so as a parent, right, I can come into my daughter's solution and have that view only capability. But what you'll notice here is that as parents, they can also turn on a overdue submission notification that can come directly to their work or personal email as well. So parents can set up an email digest that comes to them either daily or weekly that just basically showcases their child or children's activity, assignments that came in the grades, things of that sort. As you can see, you can set it up any particular day of the week or on every day at a given time. But additionally, they can set up an overdue notification that comes directly to their work or personal email as well. So parents are still in the know as well as to what's going on with their child or children when it comes to overdue assignments. But the child will have that on their homepage. You can send that message to an individual student, or you can send a message and create that to multiple students and send that out as well.
All right. Perfect, Zach. Thank you. And for these other questions coming in, I will try to get to everybody on this call. If I don't, we will make sure we follow up within your questions after. So just as a heads up there.
Yeah, and one last piece around the engaging aspect that I just want to very quickly highlight when we talk about, leveraging other PowerSchool solutions. We do want to just highlight for you the fact that the Naviance college and career readiness content can be situated and integrated into the Schoology system in itself, right? And so anyone that's on the call that is actually using Naviance, please note that you can now actually integrate Naviance content directly in the Schoology platform. So we're really excited about that capability here. And it's, that could be situated directly inside of a course, or you can even leverage that in a group so that teachers have access to that content, but at any point in time, they can come directly to the lessons that are being built out from Naviance and add that content directly to their individual course as well. So however you want to think about leveraging Naviance, whether it's in a group to place 4 teachers to pull into their courses, or creating an entire course around that college and career readiness solution, you can very easily do so within our platform here now. All right, so we talked a lot about the planning. We talked about engaging students and using a lot of those new features in Schoology to engage the students where they are. We now want to think about the monitoring aspect, right? When we're engaging our students with these various activities, we always have to evaluate where they are. Are they understanding the concepts that are being taught in the classroom? Folks, you are very familiar already with our platform when it comes to building out Schoology assessments. So we're not going to talk too much about that today. What I do want to highlight is the thought around leveraging performance matters assessments. And so in our solution today, outside of building and adding an assignment or adding a Schoology assessment, you can also now add a common assessment, which comes directly from Performance Matters. For those that are not aware, Performance Matters is PowerSchool's common assessment and advanced reporting solution that will allow you as a teacher to think about pulling in assessments from Performance Matters. Those can be district-wide assessments, benchmarks, end-of-unit assessments, what have you, that have been built out either by a PLC or by the central office and deployed throughout all the 10th grade algebra classes in this example. And you can now add that assessment directly to your course, right? So I can take the assessment, add it to my course, and once again, it populates at the bottom of the course, unpublished, for me to either publish manually or schedule that out to be published at a particular date. And then once again, I can drag and drop that to be a part of any sort of unit folder or lesson folder, what have you. But the beauty here is that for the students, when they click on that assessment, it doesn't take them out of the Schoology location, right? It doesn't take them out of the Schoology iframe. It provides a single sign-on for teachers and students alike to aggregate those assessments right here within the platform. And so a student can go from their Schoology discussion to their Schoology homework assignment to that benchmark assessment that's being taken in Performance Matters without ever leaving the Schoology LMS in itself. And what you're noticing here is an opportunity for that student not only to have the capability of the lesson, the single sign-on experience, but we can also provide, technology enhanced questions that allow the student to showcase their depth of understanding around the concepts being taught, right? So it's not just the true false and not just the multiple choice, but opportunities to leverage different calculators and graphs, videos, share passage question types and things of that sort, so that once again, students can really showcase their depth of understanding around concepts being taught in the classroom and not just simple memorization, right? A, B, C, D, true and false and things of that sort. So we're really excited about providing that capability. For anyone that's used to Performance Matters, note that all of the Performance Matters features, including the ability to leverage calculators and text-to-speech functionality, highlighters and lockdown browsers, all of that comes with the integration as well. So when the students leverage a Performance Matters assessment, they're locked in automatically to that assessment and they don't have the ability to, open up new windows and things of that sort. So that's available in the integrated system today. What's also available in that same algebra course, we've pushed out assignments, we've pushed out Schoology assessments, we've pushed out Performance Matters assessments. We can now also integrate with Horizon, ACT, and SAT prep content as well. And so you'll note here, having that capability to not only have the content readily available, but allowing teachers and the students themselves to access that content while by still staying inside of the Schoology system is all going to be provided here. So the Horizon data can easily sit within the Schoology system in itself, as you can see here as well. So we're really excited about providing that content for you, but again, creating that centralized one-stop shop location for you to engage your students and monitor their progress when it comes to the student performance. Now, once students have actually taken these assessments, right, now we want to evaluate their performance, of course, right? And how do we do so? Well, we can do that with Performance Matters. And so in our platform, one thing that you folks may or may not be used to, if you do have other PowerSchool solutions, is our app switcher. And basically that will allow you as an end user to leverage not only the PowerSchool solution, but in this example here, I can leverage the Performance Matters solution with one click and immediately access the Performance Matters solution with the single sign-on, right? And now we can see and identify how our students have performed against those standards, against the individual items on an assessment within Performance Matters, right? So students are taking those assessments in Schoology, and then as a teacher, we can understand how students are performing against those assessments, whether it's overall against the standards, or as it's processing here, it'll kind of load up here. You'll notice here that we can actually have that item analysis report as well. That showcases to me the student performance on the individual items that are being assessed directly here within the platform. Now, what you're noticing here is that it showcases to me the student performance against not only the assessment overall and how they scored on the assessment, right? Each student score showcases to me the item analysis, but it also showcases standard distribution. So when we align content to standards, we can very easily understand the students that are performing well, the students that are struggling and not meeting expectations against standards as well. What we can do now is also click into any one of those standards and immediately get an aggregate view across the individual items that were aligned to that standard and see performance against those individual questions tied to that one standard that we outlined or that we highlighted, excuse me. This is helpful for the teacher to get a quick understanding of student performance and the needs, the weaknesses and strengths of students against not only just individual items, but also against individual standards being assessed. When I can identify that these 4 students are not meeting expectations against that individual standard, well, now, once again, we can come back into Schoology, right? And as a teacher, I can come in here very quickly just to see and understand not only the performance overall on the assessment, right? Because those Performance Matters assessments will populate in the gradebook. But we can also, once again, think about adjusting, right? That last piece of the PEMA model, understanding student performance, not just numerically when it comes to the numeric grades, but understanding their performance against the standards that are being assigned in the classroom, against assessments, and even in Performance Matters, having that capability here so that we can understand student weaknesses and strengths against standards allows us to come back into the place where the teaching and learning is happening. And whether that's an individual assignment or an entire folder of resources, making that available. Oh, sorry, I clicked the wrong tab there. Making that available here to individually assign and differentiate to those students not meeting expectations against an individual standard. Right, so the thought process here and what we really wanted to highlight for you today was that PEMA model, thinking about the Schoology, or excuse me, the PowerSchool solutions of around plan, engage, monitor, adjust. Planning, creating those curriculum maps and the daily lesson plans in our curriculum and instruction solution. Engaging with content that we create as an individual teacher or as a group of teachers in PLC in a district, and engaging the students where they are to create creative materials that will allow them to understand the concepts that are being taught in the classroom. Monitoring through the Performance Matters solution, where we're assessing students inside of Schoology, but leveraging those Performance Matters assessments or Horizon assessments inside of the Schoology platform, leveraging Performance Matters to understand student performance, and then differentiate content based on that performance right back in the same place where the teaching and learning is happening. And so we showed a lot today, and hopefully you can understand that model. And I'm sure a lot of folks today are actually implementing that model, leveraging the Schoology solution. I'll pause here to open this back up. Lucas, anything else that you'd like to add to the conversation before you talk a little bit about next steps and other resources that the folks can leverage as they move on?
Yeah, Zach, that was great. I really appreciate it. super exciting stuff. I personally really like the Horizon item bank or the Horizon content because that's ACT and SAT prep courses. I over the years have had a lot of schools asking me about some curriculum. How do I kind of upload pre-existing stuff within Schoology? And this is a great starting point in that direction. If any of you guys are in states where it's required for either your middle school or your 11th graders, for example, we now have those tests. And what's great is those courses come with, I think, 8 practice tests per year. And some of those practice tests get pretty expensive. So you can take 8, a student can take 8 practice ACT or SAT tests per year. So I'm really excited about that one. And, we continue to develop more. And that kind of brings me to the next topic, which will be where do you guys go to get more resources? So as we present or move forward, I'm gonna put a few links into the chat for everybody, so keep an eye out for that. If for some reason you can't get the links, not a big deal. When we send out the email after, we'll include this. I'll also be posting it on YouTube, and we'll have the links on there too as well. But a few of the things that I will highlight. So we have the Schoology Learning Center. We recently moved this. I will apologize on behalf of Power School. They didn't announce this as much as I would have liked, that we moved the Schoology Support Center. So I just put that link in there. So please feel free to grab that. Oh, Dominic did just have a question, and I'll answer this right now because I think it's a great question. Dominic asked, does Schoology have a lockdown browser capabilities? Performance Matters has that built in. Schoology has partners, so we can work with Respondus and a few other ones as a third-party app. But if you were using Performance Matters, that is part of the subscription cost. So I will add that. So here's the Schoology Learning site. Just like the old one, you could search. We continuously add features in here. One of the big ones I like to add right here is the release notes. So this is just something to keep an eye on as well. So I'll post that one for any release notes coming out in the year. And you'll see we try to do this by month. The other one that is very popular or that I really like is the Power School community. This is for all things Power School. You guys do need to sign up for this if you don't have it available. These other 2 links are public facing, but this section does require you to be a Power School community member. You might already have this if you're using the Student Information System or Performance Matters, some of our other products. I'll include the link in here. Again, it might not work for everybody if you don't have an account set up with us yet. But you'll see this is some of the stuff that we talked about today. I don't know why. Oh, there it is. And then we even have in progress and what's next. So very helpful for that one. Bookmark it if you do have it. And then the last thing I will highlight, one more invite. If you guys want some more information, we're doing another webinar hosted by some of my colleagues. 5 assessment features that will bring you cheer in Schoology, for the holiday seasons. We like to make it theme appropriate. So again, this one's free. It's really assessment focused within Schoology. I know that question came up a few times. This does not require any Performance Matters or anything else. It's Schoology only. So that's a good one. Again, I'll send these links. I did include them in the chat. And then the last thing I just want to go back to is our territory breakdown. So if you want to take a quick screenshot of that, this is how it breaks down and the introductions earlier in the meeting. We thank everybody. That's it for now. I'll give you guys 5 minutes back in your time. There's a lot of people that did message me. I will get back to you or have one of my team members, depending on what state you're in, follow up with you on some of those answers. We really appreciate it. Hopefully you guys got a lot of good information on this. We're going to try to do these once or twice a year. So keep an eye out in the spring. We'll do another one once we release some new stuff at the beginning of the year. We do have a lot of new exciting releases coming up in January, February, and March. So keep an eye on those links that I added. And thanks everybody again. Have a great week and we'll talk to you all soon. Thank you, Zach, too. Very helpful.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Can leave that up in case anybody needs to grab the email and close it out in 2 minutes. All right. Perfect. Thanks, you guys. Enjoy the rest of your week.